we know that there are 12 houses, and out of that, if Mangal or planet Mars is placed in 6 houses in your horoscope, you can be a Manglik, which means that almost 50% of the world's population comes under the Manglik category. And I personally have heard a very terrible incident of somebody who married a lady who was a Manglik. Maybe she was a very strong Manglik. And within a year of the marriage, he met with an accident and passed away. And everybody around him was like, oh, she was a Manglik, and that's why, he married her, and that's what killed him. So I want to ask you, they say that after the age of 29, the Mangal Dosh gets nullified or pacified or cut off completely. As an astrologer and a researcher, how do you look at this entire phenomena, if I can put it that way?
Okay, now there is a lot of fear about Mangal Dosh and Kuja Dosha. Now, Mangal, whenever it is there in the 1st, 2nd, 7th, 4, 8, 12, so 6 houses. Now, whenever we look at Mangal Dosh, Preetika, it's not only from the Lagna that we see. There are 3 more parameters that you have to look at. You have to see it from the moon, you have to see it from the Venus. So in that case, it's not only 50%, I would say there are more chances that you will have many such combinations you will see in many people's chart. Now, what is Mangal? Mangal and Shani. We have to understand what is Mangal and Shani to understand Manglik Dosh. See, and to easily make you understand, we need Mangal and Shani in our life. It is, even though we call that these are Naisargik, which means, these are malefics. But what is Manglik? Manglik means an influence of Mars is very high. What is Mars? If you understand a caveman, you have to understand the principle from a caveman. When a caveman used to go out for hunting, he had 2 options when he's confronted with danger. So a caveman, if he sees a lion which is come in front of him, so he has only, a couple of options. One is to fight that danger or to flight, which means to run away. So now, based on what decision you take, is to fight or to flight. That is Mangal and Shani. Flight is Shani. Fight is Mangal. So if you see a lion in front of you, either you could run away and you can have certain outcomes. What are the outcomes? Is you run away and you are successful able to run away from the danger. The other option is you run away, but you are caught by the lion and you are killed by that lion. The other thing is you fight that danger and you get killed in the battle. Or what is the other outcome? You get, or you kill the lion. So those people who kill that lion, what happens is whenever in this lifetime, when you get Mangal in your chart, Mangal will be very strong in the chart, either in the exaltation or in a Swagraha. So because it is your actions that you showed, the courage that you showed. Now, when we talk about marriages and Mangal Dosh, we have to show courage, but what if that courage is got no basis, and responsibility is Shani, duty is Shani. Sometimes what happens in marriages is when Mangal is very strong, you will fight for no reason. Even though it is your duty, your responsibility, you need to bring a balance. Who is bringing you the balance? Shani has to bring that balance. You have to not run away from a situation all the time, but you have to be able to manage the situation in an amicable manner, in a very sensible manner. And what will happen with Kuja Doshas is you feel cornered and you feel that you have to raise your voice or you have to fight back. So life is not about only fighting back, but standing up and being firm and affirmative. That is Mangal. But what has people tried to do? That Mangal Dosh is, you say you have to fight back. And showing flight is cowardice, is what it is considered. Do you see what I mean? So that's why I'm saying Mangal Dosh is very feared in these times. And that is why whenever we I will come to that later on, but understand what Mangal Dosh is. Mangal Dosh is showing courage at a time when you have to show balance. That is the impact of Kuja Dosha being very strong. If Kuja Dosha is very strong, then you are not able to reconcile. You're not going to amicably resolve a situation. You always think it is fight, but no flight. Now, flight doesn't mean it is covered eyes. It's also showing, showing compassion and showing gratitude also is very important in every relationship. But every event of your life, if you start thinking it in a combative manner, then Kuja doshas will start kicking in, and that will create turmoil in your relationships.
So my question to you here is that what is the karmic goal of this lifetime for a person who is a strong Manglik? Or does the goal and aim of this lifetime change with Mangal in every house?
Yes, my answer is yes to that, Preetika. It will definitely have, but you have to also understand what is Mangal also. Is you also have to know how our body functions. When we go to sleep, the body goes through 3 stages of sleep. And that also has an implication on how the Manglik Dosh works. Now, this is very crazy for somebody to explain this way, but you have to understand what does Manglik Dosh when it comes to sleep patterns. So one is what we say is before we fall asleep, we have something as the waking state. And we don't just fall asleep. There is a stage before we go into our sleep is the waking state. Okay, which is called as Jagrata. Then the next stage is deep, before we go into deep sleep is a stage which is called as random eye movement. Okay, random eye movement is your dream state, Swapna. And then Shushupti, which means it's a deep sleep state. Now, whenever we are in awake state, we are active, our conscious is active. And when we go into random eye movement, REM, okay, that is the dream state. That is the time when the body is fighting, against all the things that our body has, which is we say our body's immunity. Now, you might want to fight against any ailments or anything that is happening, and that is Mars. Mars is the fighter. Mars is the warrior. Okay, so that is your dream state. That is happening. That's when your eyes are moving and your eyes are closed, but your eyeballs are moving. That is when your Mars is very active. Then you go into deep sleep state, right? That is when your body repair work is happening. And when the body repair work is happening, Shani is very active. That is why Shani is said to be tamas, which means tamasic, as in it is inertia. There is no action. Laziness, procrastination is all associated with your Shani. So understand what happens when you say Kuja dosha. Kuja dosha means you are having certain aspirations, dreams, and when you are not met, you try to combat it. You try to fight against it. And Shani, when it is too high, it makes you very passive. But we need both Mars and Shani in our life to balance this activity. So what I want to say is Kuja dosha is there, but if you have a strong Saturn in the chart, it balances the Kuja dosha. So that is why we always try to bring this balance between Mars and Saturn in the chart. If you do not get this balance right, sometimes we speak too much, like a knee-jerk reaction. Sometimes we stay away from speaking when we have to speak. So Kuja dosha is like a knee-jerk reaction. It is like you standing up for every time, and you are sometimes even talking which is even baseless. In aim things, you will start picking up things, and that is Kuja dosha. So Kuja dosha, to understand Kuja dosha, you have to understand Shani and Mangal.
So is it right to say that wherever Mangal is placed in the Manglik house, is it right to say that in that area of life, we need to be more peaceful or resilient towards any aggression or any objection coming from that area of life that the horoscope represents?
That is exactly what it means. Wherever your Mars is sitting in the chart and it is in a Manglik position, that means you are fighting for, protecting the rights of that house or that bhav, that emotions. We are trying to control those emotions there, and we become too attached to that element of our life. So the whole concept is we need to learn to let go of that house, let go of, and be bringing more compassion into that area of our life, and having self-worth related to that. Most of the problems with Manglik Dosh is connected to Mars being too strong there and creating an imbalance there, which means low self-worth, low self-esteem, okay, low self-confidence. You try to overcome that, and you try to show resistance in those areas. If you show resistance, Manglik Dosh will be kicked in. If you start bringing more love into that area of your life, wherever it is showing you the Manglik Dosh, you start healing. Because it is not coming from this life. It is coming from, as I told you, the incident I told you in the last was when a caveman goes, what was his impulse? Because it is pre-programmed in you. Do you fight it with courage, or do you run away from that situation? If you're running away, then it is not sometimes helping you, but sometimes it makes sense to run away from a situation. So that's what, whenever you go into martial arts, I've been trained into martial arts. And in martial arts, they say, if you see that you are cornered by very powerful people, okay, and instead of fighting it, you will say, okay, it's best to retreat today so that I can, fight this another day. So when you know that you're no match for it, then instead of fighting every, thing and getting defeated and beaten up, it's better to sometimes retreat. So having that intelligence built is very important. And that is what I say Manglik Dosh is about, bringing that intelligence and that awareness into yourself, that when to speak and when not to speak, how to speak, and in what language you speak. That also makes a huge difference. So the first house implications is you need to heal the energies related to yourself. So Preetika ji, when you talk about Hanuman ji, what is Hanuman? Hanuman is an epitome of courage, strength, grace, humility, selfless service, unwavering devotion, bhakti, compassion, and unconditional and pure love towards his master. Okay. And what is he always ready to do for Lord Sri Ram? He wants to do everything at lightning speed. His execution speed is so superior. So this is what it means to be able to have all these qualities. Then you are able to overcome the Kuja doshas which are there. Why? Because Hanuman is, as I told you, all of these qualities are there. And Hanuman is worshipped because it's the biggest remedy for your Shani. What is Shani? Shani is darkness. And Sri Ram represents sun, which is light. So Lord Hanuman is a path towards light because he's the Prana Shakti. Why is he Prana Shakti? Because he is the son of Vayu. Vayu is which gives us the life force, the prana. So that's why he's also called as Mukhya Prana, the main prana, Hanuman. Okay, he's also Chiranjeevi, which means he's never going to be, there is no death for him, he's immortal. He's one of the Chiranjeevis. So, as I said, he is a prana of our body, and he helps us to go in the path of the light, which is Lord Sri Ram. What is Shani? Why does he overcome Shani? Because he has the ability to also swallow the pride. What is pride? Sun was the pride. So a broken chin or a broken jaw is what Hanuman means. So he has broken and he has no pride, because pride is your jaw. So if you have no pride and no ego, and you are just compassionate, loving, graceful, showing courage, showing strength by just remembering Hanumanji. And we know, what is the thing that we do for keeping our suhag, which means what do the women do? They put,
Sindoor.
sindoor. And you know the story, right? Hanumanji, how he put sindoor all over his body because, he saw Sita Mata wearing sindoor on her forehead. So he asked Sita Mata, Mata, why are you wearing sindoor? She said, for long life of Lord Sri Ram. He immediately goes to the market, he buys bags full of sindoor and he comes and is putting it all over his body. And Sita Mata is saying, Hanuman, what happened to you? Why are you doing this? She said, if you are putting a little bit of sindoor here for long life, I want to put sindoor all over my body for the longest life of Lord Sri Ram. That is his, innocence. That is true, devotion and unwavering devotion. So this is one thing that people can do as a remedy. I want to say people who have strong kuja doshas, offer sindoor to Hanumanji. There is service in certain places and temples where, oil and sindoor are mixed and that is applied on the statues of Hanuman. You see, he has got sindoor over all his body. Oil is what? Shani. Sindoor, you are applying it. That's the best remedy for you. And let go of your ego. Let go of your emotions. And start having devotion and bhakti towards everything in your life.
Would you be able to quickly give us the karmic goal for every soul who has, Mangal Dosh in every house? Maybe just for a just brief understanding, people who are wondering, why do I have Mangal in the first house? Why is it in the seventh house? Why is it in the second house? Would you be able to tell us what is the karmic pattern of the past life that brings Mangal in every Manglik house?
Okay, I'll give you the combinations, which is very important, and what will happen with having Mangal in different houses. First, let's look at the cardinal houses. 1, 4, 7, where you'll have Mangal Dosh. Okay, 1 is Buddhi. Your Mangal Dosh will create imbalances in your Buddhi, which means your intellect. The first house. 4th house is Shuddhi. Shuddhi means purification. So if your Mangal Dosh is there in the 4th house, see 4, 8, 12, these are called as, Moksha Trikona. They are all the water signs. That's where you have Mangal. Mangal doesn't behave well in water. He's and that is the whole thing you have to understand. See, it was the leap of faith which Hanumanji took over going through Lanka. He had to go over water, but he couldn't go inside water and swim. Why he had to fly over water? Why didn't he go swimming? Because Mangal gets debilitated in Cancer, which is a water sign. So 4th house is Shuddhi. Shuddhi means purification. It can create problems for you through Mangal Dosha because you are trying to purify something. And through trying to be always Shuddh, which means trying to bring in purity, you are creating some imbalances there. 7th house, it's a Kama Trikona. And 7th house, when Mangal is coming, it is called Vriddhi. Vriddhi means you are always comparing yourself with, oh, look what our neighbors have. Look what they have got a new car. Look, this person has got, new clothes, but I don't have. So you're trying to compare instead of saying, I need this because I love wearing this. What if you're saying I'm comparing it? That creates Kuja Dosha also because you're comparing everything with others. Kuja Dosha in the 7th house. Kuja Dosha, which is coming through the 2nd house, which is through family. Which means, see, when you take the Sat Fere, the 7, circumambulating the Agni 7 times, we take an oath that from today onwards, the woman takes a oath saying that from today onwards, your family will be my family. The husband takes an oath saying that from today onwards, I will treat you just like I would treat my other family members. And your parents are also like my parents. So Kuja dosha, which is coming through family, is the second house. So if you see, all of these placements are going to create imbalances in different houses. So what is one? Buddhi, which means intellect is not very well.
So, what is the karma here? What is the karma of the person where Mangal is in the first house?
That means, the karma is they are not able to, it's called you're speaking without even thinking. It's a karma, which means you are also very self-centered. I, me, myself. Second house, karma is I am going to fight for every resource that is available for me, which means your resource is also my resource. Anybody else's resource is my resource. Second house is a resource, what he has given to you. What is yours is yours. But if you are also saying what is not mine is also mine, then it creates a very strong puja. Because Mars is trying to fight for what is not yours. Okay. Seventh is what? You have to understand what is seventh house puja dosha karmically. Seventh house is what completes us. Seventh house is what completes us. That's why when we get married, what we say? We say, let death do us apart. Seventh house is also a Maraka house, which brings us separation. So if first house is your life, seventh house is what we call as death, but death is not the end. Death is the beginning of something new. So when a child is born, we rejoice, and somebody dies, we cry. But there is a community, a tribe, apparently, in somewhere in the northeast part of India. They do the other thing. When somebody is born, they cry. When somebody dies, they rejoice. They celebrate, saying that, okay, this person is getting a new life somewhere again. So do you understand? The concept is death has to happen. That's why birth is coming. So if you understand the concept of what we do, I'll give you a very easy way of understanding what this cycle is. The cycle is we are born in water because we are in the mother's womb, in the placenta. Okay, we come to earth, we breathe air, and then we go into fire. And what happens after we go into fire? So understand, these are the four, 5 grade elements: fire, earth, air, water, and ether. This is Panchamahabhutas. So we're born in water, we come to earth, we breathe air, and we go into fire. And what do we do with the ashes? We go and put it back into the water. Why? We put it jalapraha, we put our astiya, our bones and our ashes is put into a river. Why we put it? Because let the soul get another body again, which means it has to go back into water. Because we are born into mother's womb, this is water. So this cycle keeps going on. That's why we put we go back into dust, but we put it back into the water. Our astiya and our bones and our ashes. The debt with the seventh house is what is unfinished that you had to do. So seventh house Mars is showing you, because it is aspecting you yourself. It is showing you something that you are wanting to progress, but you are getting blockages in your progress. And that is creating frustration. That is creating an imbalance and ego in you. So the karma of the seventh house is what you are not able to accomplish, what you are not able to fulfill. That is the Kuja dosha of the seventh house. Kuja dosha of the eighth house is your inheritances. It is what you inherit in this life, because it belongs to somebody else. Inheritances is not what you have earned. So seventh house is your Kuja doshas are karmas associated with the eighth house, which is hidden. The hidden areas of your life is creating frustrations, anxiety, curiosity. The karma is related to your in-laws also, because eighth house is your in-laws. Eighth house is also your spouse's wealth, your spouse's family. So karmas which are coming from that, because there is an imbalance which is created because of your in-laws, because of your spouse's wealth. Mars there, you will start, creating imbalances. Kuja dosha will happen because you are indiscriminately spending money and you're not giving respect to the in-laws. 12th house is our letting go. Letting go is surrender. But we do not like to let go what our possessions are. That creates a Kuja dosha of the 12th house. A king doesn't like to get rid of his assets, his treasures. Mangal is creating that you're fighting and you are not able to donate, you're not able to be charitable. That is the 12th house karmas of the Kuja dosha.
I'm sure people who have Mangal in other houses will also be curious to know what is their, karmic impediment of this life. Would you be able to throw some light, like maybe just very quickly, not maybe in detail?
See, what I want to say, Preetika, is Mangal Dosh is only through 1, 2, 7, 4, 8, 12 houses. So it has to be seen from the moon, Venus, and from Lagna. But Mangal sitting in other houses is not going to create any Mangal Dosh. If it is sitting in the first house, it's about yourself. There is something which is anger that you're holding within yourself. Second house, which is coming through your family, through the food. Like, Mangal sitting in the second house can create also what kind of food that you are taking in. If you're taking a lot of Rajasic and Tamasic food, that can also create that Mangal Dosh, that imbalance which is there. That can aggravate the Mangal Dosh. Okay. Fourth house. What is fourth house? Fourth house is connected to your Shuddhi, which means purification. And you are here with a purpose to karmically to purify and to cleanse yourself. And when you are not able to accomplish that in this lifetime, then it creates an imbalance and you always feel triggered. Small things, knee-jerk reaction, we say. So, pani jo peete ho, what water you drink, that is also going to decide. That's why whenever we go to people's house, you do not accept whatever they're giving you, food, water, because what emotions are there will come through the water. That is the fourth house. Fourth house is if you're, it's a water element, fourth house. Fourth house is your emotional state. So Kuja dosha, which is coming because you're emotionally getting triggered. Okay. Seventh house is somewhere you have imbalance or not coming to terms with your better self. What is your alter ego? Seventh house is your alter ego. Seventh house is your mirror. What you see yourself in the society is your seventh house. How you perceive yourself in the society is your seventh house. So your image in the society, Kuja dosha, is you're fighting to keep an image in the society in the seventh house. Okay. Eighth house, I said, it is something to do which is hidden area. Your hidden fears, your phobias. That is the eighth house. And 12th house is your letting go. You're holding on to some things. You know what happens with 12th house? The Kuja dosha of your karmic implications of your 12th house is that you are not able to get good sleep. You are, there is an imbalance. 12th house is also your unconscious state of mind. See, 8th house, 4th house, 8th house, 12th house. 4th house is your conscious state. Karma is coming from your conscious state of mind. 8th house is your subconscious state, which means what is being programmed and has kept in your life and what is bothering you, but you do not know where it is coming from, your subconscious, right? It could be some traumas. It could be some things that have come from the childhood. It could have come from your past life. It could have come from your upbringing, your formative years. 12th house is unconscious. Unconscious is when you are in your deep sleep or your state of sleep. So these are the areas. So unconscious, 4th, 8th, subconscious, 12th is unconscious state.